This week has been nothing short of monumental for digital assets, crypto, tokenization, the future of financial markets. We're quite literally watching the world's largest financial institutions, the institutions that literally run the globe, such as Nasdaq, DTCC, Broadridge, Franklin Templeton, and more, all making public and coordinated moves into blockchain rails. From Securities and Exchange Commission filings to multi-trillion-dollar settlement platforms to brand new tokenized products running on blockchain and crypto to the first XRP ETF proposal, it is all happening at once. Today, I'm going to break down the biggest announcements of this week, why they matter, and keep trekking down the rabbit hole with you guys because this week seems to not want to stop enabling me to do so, and talk about how some of these digital assets tie together into this new and unstoppable convergence. What is up, everybody? Solomon here. Super excited to be with you all today. All right, let me provide a little bit of a background of just literally this week, what's happened. On Monday, the Nasdaq filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission. This is the Nasdaq filing to tokenize the United States stock market, to have a digital representation as currently sits with the Nasdaq, and to have a tokenized representation of those same stocks or securities. Think about that. One of the largest exchanges, I think $24 trillion, one of the largest exchanges on the planet, essentially seeking approval to create digital twins of equities. This ties directly in the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation because in that NASDAQ filing, it talks about settlement running through DTCC, the $2.5 quadrillion clearinghouse for U.S. securities. And the rails that they'll use in all of this, because NASDAQ has directly already tied in blockchain, appears to be Canton Network, which is a private network. Now, Canton popped up again today in this Broadridge announcement we're going to be talking about, hence this rabbit hole that just does not seem to want to let me get out of it. Canton's a permissioned private distributed ledger already integrated with DTCC, actually the NASDAQ, and more importantly, part of the Global Blockchain Business Council, the GBBC's global risk framework, alongside Ripple, Hedera, Chainlink, Avalanche, and Cardano. All right, that was Monday. NASDAQ invests $50 million into Gemini. This is Tuesday. Tuesday, NASDAQ doubles down with a $50 million investment into Gemini, expanding custody and exchange infrastructure, building the bridge between private institutional rails and public blockchain networks. Gemini provides liquidity, custody, and the crypto native infrastructure NASDAQ will need as tokenized securities cross over into broader markets. SEC filing on Monday. Tokenized equities at the regulatory level. Gemini investment on Tuesday, infrastructure and liquidity. Now, day 3, Broadridge and Canton. This is where today comes in. So let me tie in Broadridge first. This just coming out today, $280 billion in average daily processed trade volumes on Broadridge's distributed repo platform. And nearly $6 trillion a month, essentially. So this is the largest production platform in the world for tokenized real asset settlement as of now. Even more important, Broadridge is distributing repo market data through Kaiko's application. And what network do you think that that's integrating with? Again, we've got Canton Network. It means live auditable repo data is flowing on the same Canton rails that the NASDAQ just tied into. NASDAQ tying into this, I think back in June or July, partnering with Canton Network. And again, Canton Network, part of, I think, the only private network in the Global Blockchain Business Council's risk mitigation framework, alongside public networks like Hedera, XRPL and Ripple, Cardano, Avalanche, and Chainlink. I know Chainlink's not a network, but still, let's just say Chainlink for lack of the verbiage. And I'm going to go over some Chainlink stuff here too, because it's just massive. So by midweek, we now had the NASDAQ and Broadridge, two market giants, both anchoring to this Canton network. Also, this is just today. This is the Franklin Templeton XRP ETF filing, and I've got some Franklin Templeton news as well. Franklin Templeton's push into digital assets. Now, one thing about this is essentially the SEC, again, kicking the can down the curb here and extending out the decision deadline for the XRP ETF to November 14th, 2025. But the filing alone showing Franklin Templeton isn't just experimenting, they're actively attempting to position XRP into inside of their ETF market infrastructures. For some context here, Franklin Templeton, I think, has $1.6 trillion in assets under management. All right, but we're not done yet because Franklin Templeton has more today, announcing a wide-ranging partnership with Binance, the largest crypto exchange. Franklin Templeton bringing $1.6 trillion in assets under management and regulated token expertise. I'll pull up this article for you guys so you could see it. Regulated token expertise. Binance bringing scale and liquidity together. They're going to be delivering digital asset products that merge compliance with accessibility, bringing institutional portfolios with DeFi or decentralized finance yield and efficiency. One arm of Franklin Templeton pushing an XRP ETF. Another building next-gen tokenized products with Binance. That's coordinated digital asset strategy from, like I said, one of the world's largest asset managers. And we've seen some of the ETF stuff coming out of from Solana. We've seen Grayscale and the Hedera stuff recently as well. Finally, on Wednesday, and this just tells you where this is all kind of going here. Before I get to that, let me get to this. Broadridge, that huge announcement that I just mentioned here today that tied in Canton Network, directly tied into Chainlink's annual event, which is SmartCon. And not only just tied in, but a featured speaker. You've got the president of Broadridge. You've got the chief innovation officer at Swift. You've got head of platform settlement solutions, Connexus by JP Morgan. Chainlink being the only ecosystem that has done any sort of settlement aspects from JP Morgan. So like a public ecosystem. JP Morgan stuff has always kind of just been private, obviously. But this ran on top of Chainlink solutions. You can, I just wanted to give a shout out because I do see a lot of hate out there for, it goes both ways. I see hate for Chainlink and I see Chainlink hate for the XRPL. Anyways, I hold both. I could care less. I'm going to cover whatever I want to cover. All right. So Broadridge, what we just talked about, speaking, the president at SmartCon. And then finally, we have huge news coming out of Hedera. We have Archax and Hedera. Now, Archax should ring a bell to almost everybody that watches these videos because they're not just tied in with Hedera, even though Hedera was, I believe, the first integration of Archax all the way back with Aberdeen's tokenized Lux Money Market Fund in 2022 or 3, I want to say. But XRPL integration, certainly, I think Algorand, XDC integration, kind of across the board, Archax has been absolutely killing it. This is kind of where all of this stuff leads into what's actually possible within crypto. And I'll read their tweet first, and then I'm going to kind of close with the thoughts on this. Archax launches pool token functionality on Hedera. This is today, enabling on-chain multi-asset portfolios, traditional assets. First up, a tokenized basket of Aberdeen, as I mentioned before, BlackRock and State Street, as well as legal and general funds. So a basket of funds that are split between Aberdeen, BlackRock, State Street, and then legal and general funds as this kind of pool token. The range of underlying assets can be wholly diverse too, from equity, debt, funds, and cryptos, all in a single transferable token, literally wrapping multiple different assets, multiple potentially illiquid assets in the traditional world, putting them all into one basket, including crypto, including all of these different types of financial instruments, and having it being represented as one token. That is the type of innovation that we're literally witnessing right now. This unlocks unprecedented flexibility in portfolio building and fund creation on chain. Again, huge shout out to Tata down here. I'm pretty sure you asked the question, is this a first in all of crypto? And running it through not only just crypto, but just kind of these regulated funds coming on chain. Looks like it may be a first. I haven't certainly seen anything like this yet. Pool tokens can be instantly created, transferred, or even used as collateral in Archax in their Nest network. This is financial engineering that simply was not possible with traditional ETFs and traditional funds. I'll pull up this full article so you can see it. So I want to step back and look at this week, and then I guess I'm going to kind of close with this KPMG article here too, but Nasdaq SEC filing was Monday. The Nasdaq literally filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission in the United States to have tokenized representations of the entire, all stocks, all securities on the stock market. So then you would have, I have Apple stock. I have a digital representation of Apple stock like I do right now, like I've had for years. Or I can have this tokenized version of Apple stock that has all of the same properties of the digital one, but I can probably do all sorts of cool stuff with the tokenized one that I might not have been able to do with the digital one, right? Like I just talked about with Archax. All right, so you've got that on Monday. You also have Nasdaq, not Gemini, not the other way around. Nasdaq investing $50 million into Gemini on Tuesday for deeper liquidity exchange, kind of the on-chain rails. You have Broadridge, this is today, talking about $280 billion in daily on-chain settlement. That's trillions per month with live data on Canton Network. We talked about Canton Network directly tying in with the NASDAQ as well as the Global Blockchain Business Council's regulated regulated risk mitigation framework. I'm talking too fast. Alongside the only public networks there, which are Hedera, XRPL, Avalanche, Cardano, and Chainlink is involved in those trials as well, moderated by the World Bank, I should say, and DTCC sitting there, Clearstream and Euroclear as well. So massive financial entities. All right. You've got the Franklin XRP ETF filing delayed by the SEC until November now. So we know that, but you also have Franklin Templeton partnering up with Binance, TradFi and DeFi partnership at 1.6 trillion assets under management from Franklin Templeton's standpoint, one of the biggest asset managers in the entire world. To ramp us down here, you've got Archax and Hedera talking and showing you guys what's possible, why these institutions are starting to think about coming on chain, why they're coming on chain. There's just so much more that you can do with these traditional assets once you bring them into a new technology that has been tried, tested, and true with some of these ecosystems that seem to be really moving the needle across the globe. This is infrastructure. This is scale. This is liquidity. This is regulatory filings. This is all new products and market innovation. This is an entire new world. And this has only been 3 days of 1 week of announcements that have come out. Pretty massive, guys. Was not a normal week. Seems like stuff is really starting to kind of ramp up here. I was going to mention this stablecoin document out of KPMG, and the title was literally The Bridge Between Traditional Finance and Digital Assets. I am of the opinion that stablecoins are probably that, get across the line, get people comfortable with this technology type of, milestone and innovation. I think that USDC and whatever you think about USDT, but I think USDC and all these stable coins, especially with the Genius Act being packed, are really going to just get people comfortable with crypto and the tech. Anyways, the rails are converging. The volumes are real. The products are beginning to go live. As I mentioned a month ago with a video from the European Central Bank, the deputy governor, I think at it was European Central Bank, or it was in the UK, talking about, hey, the time of proof of concepts has come and gone. And yes, they will continue. However, it is time to operationalize this technology and start pushing stuff live. The future of finance didn't just announce itself this week. It showed up, and it's very apparent that it's starting to run the system. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am going to do something a little bit different today because the world is nuts. And, I hope all of you guys out there are doing okay. So I'm going to take kind of a moment here and, And if you guys want to, you can feel free to pray or not, but I'm going to do it. So, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. I'll talk to you guys when I talk to you later.